It's a difficult truth to hear, especially if you've tried to make healthier choices as you've gotten older. On its own, oatmeal has a good reputation, and for good reason. It's full of soluble fiber, gentle on the stomach, and great for controlling blood sugar and cholesterol. However, most people are unaware that once you start adding the wrong toppings or mix-ins, many of which are marketed as healthy, that same bowl can quietly turn into a sugar bomb, a metabolic stressor, or even a long-term threat to your organs, since your body becomes more sensitive to blood sugar spikes, additives, and certain fats after the age of 60. In this video, we'll look at 7 foods that older adults frequently add to oatmeal, and why each one may be doing far more harm than good. Your digestion slows down, your insulin response changes, and your liver and kidneys work a little harder to filter out what they used to handle with ease. What you put in your oatmeal can either help your body or subtly overwhelm it. Stay tuned until the end of this video because even eliminating 1 or 2 of these from your routine could result in improved energy, more stable blood sugar, and even protection for your liver, kidneys, and heart. Some of these may surprise you, while others you may have trusted for years. Breakfast shouldn't ever operate against you, especially if you have it every day. The main brown sugar in breakfast causes your insulin response to be triggered. While brown sugar may appear more natural than white sugar, it is processed in the same way for your body, especially after the age of 60. When you add brown sugar to your oatmeal in the morning, you are not only adding sweetness to your food, but you are also causing a sharp spike in blood sugar that can leave you feeling exhausted, drowsy, and even more hungry an hour later. Over time, these repeated spikes can worsen your insulin response and increase your risk of type 2 diabetes, even in people who believe they are eating healthily. This is because as we age, our pancreas produces less insulin, and the body becomes more resistant to the insulin it does produce. When you add fast-absorbing sugar, like brown sugar, to your diet, it's like pouring gasoline on a fire. I remember a woman named Janet, 67, who stuck to her healthy breakfast of oatmeal with skim milk and a little brown sugar. She couldn't figure out why she always needed a nap by 10:30, so she reviewed her diet with her doctor and cut out the added sugar. After a week, her morning energy leveled out. I didn't think it was the sugar, she told me it was just a spoonful, but it was enough to set everything off. Over time, this pattern leads to more belly fat, inflammation, and blood vessel damage. Additionally, brown sugar frequently causes a yearning for more sweets later in the day, since sugar releases dopamine, the brain's pleasure chemical, which leaves you feeling drained and tempted to go for more. The key is not to fear sweetness, but to stop flooding your body with the kind that burns quickly and leaves damage in its wake. When you start your morning with stable blood sugar, everything else works better, including your mood, memory, and metabolism. By eliminating just that 1 scoop of brown sugar, you're giving your body a head start that can last the rest of your day. HIIT isn't about willpower, it's about chemistry. If you still want a little sweetness in your oatmeal, try adding a few banana slices or some cinnamon and vanilla. The reality is far more nuanced. Even if artificial sweeteners might seem like the wise decision, particularly for elderly people checking their blood sugar levels, your body expects sweetness to come with calories and energy. So when it receives sweetness without those calories, as it does with things like sucralose, aspartame, or saccharin, it becomes confused. These low-calorie alternatives, which are frequently found in tiny pink or yellow packets, may save you a few grams of sugar in the short term. But over time, they can subtly negatively impact your metabolism, gut health, and even liver function. In older adults where hormonal sensitivity is already changing, this mismatch can change your insulin response, increase cravings later in the day, and even slow down your metabolism. This disruption can make it more difficult to control blood sugar, gain belly fat, and lose weight, even when you think you're doing everything correctly. Additionally, there's the problem of liver load. The liver processes a lot of artificial sweeteners, and even while they don't immediately increase blood sugar, they still need to be filtered over time, especially if taken often, which might cause needless stress. A slower, more sluggish liver that is already managing drugs, age-related slowing, or other dietary pollutants can cause weariness, poor digestion, and raised liver enzymes, sometimes without any symptoms until the condition worsens. A 74-year-old man named Charles had been adding sugar-free syrup and sweeteners to his oatmeal for years. He claimed to enjoy the taste and believe it was diabetic-friendly, but after his liver panel showed a slight elevation, his doctor advised him to stop using the artificial additives. After a few weeks, his digestion improved, and his follow-up labs showed improved results, so I thought I was helping myself. However, he suggested that instead of using artificial sweeteners, try using cinnamon, nutmeg, or a splash of almond extract. Even a small amount of real fruit can satisfy your sweet tooth while providing vitamins, fiber, and antioxidants that lab-made powder cannot. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights useful, please leave a comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. If you haven't subscribed yet, I suggest you do so and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue to create quality content to inform and inspire you. Your body has been working hard for decades, and it deserves real nourishment rather than artificial signals. Dehydrated fruits. Since dried fruits are made from real fruit, they may seem like a harmless and healthy addition to your oatmeal. However, when fruit is dried, the water content goes away, and the sugar becomes extremely concentrated, which can turn a handful of raisins or dried cranberries into the sugar equivalent of a candy bar without you even realizing it. This is particularly dangerous for older adults because the sugar and dried fruit contain fructose, which the liver must process almost entirely on its own. Unlike glucose, which your muscles and brain can use directly, fructose is sent straight to the liver, where it can be converted into fat. This leads to fatty liver disease, a condition that is becoming more and more common in people over 60, even those who don't drink alcohol. Even unsweetened dried fruit, such as dates or raisins, provides a significant natural sugar boost. For example, a few tablespoons of dried cranberries can contain more than 20 g of added sugar, which is sometimes combined with syrup during processing to keep them soft and pleasant. A tiny bundle. I knew a man named Gerald, 69, who ate oatmeal with a handful of dried apricots every morning. He thought it was a smart way to boost his fiber, but he always felt bloated after breakfast and couldn't figure out why his blood pressure was creeping up. Once he switched to fresh blueberries and removed the dried fruit, his bloating stopped, and his doctor noticed the difference too. I didn't know those little pieces could do that much damage. He told me that if you really enjoy fruit in your oatmeal, add fresh apple slices, a handful of berries, or half a banana. Offers sweetness with water, fiber, and nutrients that help slow sugar absorption and ease the liver's burden. You still get flavor, but in a form your body can handle, especially in your 60s, 7s and beyond. It's not about giving up sweetness. It's about choosing the kind that works with your body, not against it, because your liver has worked hard for you your whole life. And at this point, it's time we work a little smarter for it too. Number 4, flavored oat packets. For many people, especially those living alone or trying to keep meals simple, those little pre-flavored oatmeal packets feel like a quick, harmless fix. Just tear, pour, and stir. They promise health, convenience, and comfort all in one, but under that friendly label often lies a combination of additives, excessive sodium, and synthetic flavorings that can quietly damage your health, especially after age 60. Let's start with the sodium. Many flavored oat packets contain between 200 and 300 milligrams of sodium per serving, sometimes more if you add milk or cook it with salted butter. That may not sound like much, but when you add that to the sodium in bread, canned soups, or snacks, throughout the day it quickly adds up. And for seniors dealing with high blood pressure, heart concerns, or kidney function decline, the seemingly small amount can silently push your system past a safe limit. Then there's the flavor itself. The majority of flavored oatmeals use artificial flavorings, sweeteners, stabilizers, and colorants to simulate genuine food, rather than using real ingredients to give them their maple or apple cinnamon taste. Don't fuel the body. Instead, they force your liver and kidneys to perform additional filtering. And this is especially important for an aging system already coping with years of medication or inflammation. A woman named Carol, 73, told me she had been eating flavored oatmeal packets for years, sometimes 2 a day, because they were convenient and seemed like the healthy option. I never imagined a small packet could accomplish all she told me, but she always felt bloated afterward, and had noticed her hands swelling more recently. When she switched to plain oats with her own cinnamon and apple slices, the bloating decreased and her morning blood pressure readings improved. The truth is that most of the health claims on these packets are just good marketing. Low-fat and healthy whole grain may sound comforting, but they don't mention the chemical thickeners, preservatives, or the effects of 9 additional ingredients. Number 5. Non-dairy creamers. If you want to truly benefit from your oatmeal, stick to plain rolled or steel-cut oats and add your own fruit, nuts, or spices. Your body will appreciate the extra effort it takes. The majority of powdered or liquid non-dairy creamers are made with hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated oils, which are sources of trans fats. While non-dairy creamers may seem like a harmless way to make your oatmeal creamier, especially if you're lactose intolerant or cutting back on milk, the truth is that many of these creamers are packed with ingredients that can subtly harm your heart, liver, and metabolism, especially as you age. Even products labeled as trans fat-free may contain trace amounts of these fats if the serving size is small enough, and those trace amounts can accumulate over time. Additionally, there are thickeners, emulsifiers, and artificial flavors. These fats are known to raise bad LDL cholesterol and lower good HDL cholesterol, which is a dangerous combination for anyone, but especially for seniors who are already managing cardiovascular risk. These substances are there to replicate the flavor and smoothness of milk or cream, not to provide your body with nourishment. I once met a man named Frank, 75, who used to stir powdered creamer into everything, his coffee, oatmeal, and soups, because he liked the taste and didn't want to buy multiple products. However, over time he started experiencing digestive issues and higher cholesterol, so his doctor finally asked him to stop using creamers altogether. Within 2 months, Frank's labs improved, and his stomach did too. I assumed it was just powder, but he said he didn't realize it was messing up everything else. The problem is that non-dairy creamers are promoted as being easy to use and cholesterol-free, but the harm they cause is gradual, silent, and sometimes disregarded until actual symptoms appear. If you desire creaminess, try adding unsweetened almond milk, oat milk, or a small amount of organic dairy cream to your oatmeal. If you can handle it, you can even add a spoonful of plain yogurt. These options provide a clean texture with real nutrients without overloading your body with artificial junk. What you put in your oatmeal matters, especially after decades of your body taking care of you. Now is the time to repay them with healthier options. Please leave a comment in the 4th section below if you're still watching this video and find these insights helpful. If you haven't subscribed yet, I suggest doing so and turning on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support enables us to keep producing high-quality content that will educate and motivate you. Let's proceed to the 6th step, which is store-bought granola. Granola is often seen as a healthy food because it sounds natural, wholesome, and possibly even heart-friendly. However, most store-bought granola is packed with added sugars, oils, and occasionally even preservatives, which can turn your well-intentioned bowl of oatmeal into a metabolic minefield. One of the main issues with granola is how it's processed to achieve its golden crunch and shelf-stable texture. Oats are frequently baked in sugar syrups or oils, typically canola, soybean, or palm oil. These oils may be refined or even partially hydrogenated, and they can subtly increase inflammation, which over time leads to stiff joints, exhaustion, and an increased risk of heart issues. This is particularly crucial for seniors who may already be managing pre-diabetes, energy dips, or excess belly fat, as frequent sugar hits exacerbate these conditions. Even so-called low-sugar granola frequently contains ingredients like honey, brown rice syrup, or evaporated cane juice, which sound more natural but have the same effect on your body: blood sugar spikes, insulin stress, and cravings for more. Additionally, there is the problem of portion size. The majority of granola nutrition labels only indicate a few tablespoons for serving sizes, but most individuals use much more, unaware that they are adding hundreds of hidden calories, dozens of grams of carbohydrates, and fats that weren't part of the original plan. I once talked to Ellen, 71, who, after realizing she was adding more sugar and fat than a whole serving of oatmeal, stopped adding granola for crunch, cookies with chocolate chips. Her blood sugar levels improved, and her afternoon slumps vanished after she replaced it with chopped walnuts. If you truly want crunch in your oatmeal, there are better options.
Try raw nuts like pecans or almonds, or unsweetened coconut flakes, or plain roasted seeds. These provide nutrition, healthy fats, and true fiber without the needless additives, syrups, or oils. When you know what to look for on that ingredient list, you're giving your body the clarity and support it needs, one mouthful at a time. Keep in mind that oatmeal is supposed to be a steady, peaceful start to your day, not a trap full of hidden sugar and fat. Protein powders ranked 7th. Although it's true when protein comes from clean, whole sources, many older folks have heard that eating protein for breakfast will aid with energy, muscle strength, and fullness. However, when protein powders are mixed with your oatmeal every morning, especially the wrong kind, can introduce hidden ingredients, an unnecessary strain your body doesn't need. Here's what most people don't realize. Many commercial protein powders contain artificial sweeteners, thickening agents, preservatives, and synthetic flavorings. Your kidneys and liver must filter out these things, and if you're over 60, those organs are already processing decades worth of exposure to food additives, medications, and environmental toxins. Adding a scoop of processed powder every day can subtly add stress where you least expect it. Additionally, the aging body doesn't process excess protein as efficiently as it once did. What's not used for tissue repair or energy is broken down and filtered through the kidneys. For someone who already has reduced kidney function, even in the absence of kidney disease, this extra protein load can gradually exacerbate that decline, and the symptoms of fatigue, poor appetite, and fluid retention are frequently overlooked until they are severe. A 78-year-old man named Dennis used to mix protein powder into his oatmeal every morning because he read in a fitness article that it would help him maintain muscle. However, he was also taking blood pressure medication, and his kidney labs started to rise. When his doctor looked into the cause, they discovered that he was consuming too much protein, particularly from inferior powders. Dennis stated that if you really need a protein boost in the morning, go for food-based solutions. I didn't notice I was overdoing it until he shifted to actual food sources like eggs or nuts later in the day. A spoonful of unflavored Greek yogurt. At this stage of life, it's not just about adding more, it's about adding what matters and removing what subtly causes harm. Your body still responds and heals. It just asks that we treat it with the clarity and respect it deserves. A side of eggs or a handful of nuts provides protein the way your body expects to receive it, naturally balanced with other nutrients without the hidden synthetic load. When it comes to your oatmeal, that means choosing ingredients that work with your system rather than against it. Last thoughts. Each of the 7 items we've discussed today could make the difference between feeling better or unintentionally hurting your health, even while your daily cup of oats might seem like a straightforward good habit. Artificial sweeteners made from brown sugar, flavored packages of dried fruits, store-bought granola and protein powders, as well as non-dairy creamers, have their own risks, especially for those of us in our 60s, 70s, or 80s. The most important thing is not just knowing what to avoid, but also understanding why, because when you realize how your body reacts differently to sugar additives and chemical-laden ingredients as you age, you start to see how even the smallest daily decisions affect your energy, digestion, blood pressure, and even your mood. The good news is that you can change that with a few thoughtful adjustments. The truth is that you don't need to make your oatmeal fancy, or use packets or powders or sweet tricks. All you need are real ingredients that love your body back, like cinnamon, fresh fruit nuts, or clean milk. Please take a moment to think about which of these 7 do you use, and which are you ready to let go of.
Thank you for joining us today. Please leave a comment below with one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so please share them. These choices offer support rather than strain, calm rather than chaos, and when you start your day in a way that honors your body, your entire day flows differently. If you liked this video and found it useful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us keep producing quality material to educate and inspire you. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you in the next video. Reading your comments gives us a lot of motivation and encouragement.